My wife's personal trainer looked me up and down with disgust when I picked her up from the gym. "No wonder she's with me now," he said with a smirk, flexing his biceps. "Look at the state of you, mate." What he didn't know was that I'd already hired his former mentor to train me in secret, and in 6 months, I was going to steal every single one of his clients. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is and from where you were watching. My name is Thomas Mitchell, 32 years old, and I was about to show Marcus Webb what a real transformation looked like. I should have seen the signs earlier. My wife Emma had always been fitness conscious, but her sudden obsession with getting in shape started right after we moved to Brighton. She joined Apex Fitness, an upmarket gym near the seafront, and couldn't stop talking about her new trainer, Marcus. How motivating he was, how he understood her body better than anyone, how he was helping her achieve things she never thought possible. At first, I was supportive. Emma worked long hours as a solicitor, and if personal training helped her manage stress and feel confident, I was all for it. We'd been married for 4 years, together for 6, and I trusted her completely. That trust, it turned out, was about to be tested in ways I never imagined. The changes in Emma were dramatic. She started working out 6 days a week instead of 3. She bought expensive new gym clothes that left little to the imagination. She began talking about nutrition and fitness with the passion of someone who'd found religion. When I suggested we work out together, she'd say Marcus had designed a very specific program for her, and adding me would disrupt her progress. "Maybe you should get your own trainer," she'd suggest, looking at my soft belly with barely concealed disappointment. "Marcus says couples who train together often hold each other back." Marcus says. Everything became about what Marcus said. Marcus says compound movements are better than isolation exercises. Marcus says I should try intermittent fasting. Marcus says my posture is terrible and it's affecting my confidence. I started feeling like a stranger in my own marriage. The first real warning sign came when Emma's training sessions began running late. What used to be hour-long appointments stretched to 2 hours, then 3. She'd come home flushed and energetic, talking about how amazing her workout had been, how Marcus had really pushed her to new levels. "He's incredible, Tom," she'd say, heading straight for the shower. "He sees potential in me that I never knew existed." I tried to be supportive, but something felt off. Emma was becoming a different person, more confident, yes, but also more distant. She'd spend evenings researching fitness techniques and nutrition plans instead of watching films with me. She'd wake up at 5 a.m. to do cardio before work, leaving me alone in bed. When I suggested we take a weekend trip to the Cotswolds, something we used to do regularly, Emma hesitated. "I can't this weekend. Marcus is running a special workshop on advanced training techniques. It's only offered once a month." "Can't you miss one session?" Her face hardened. "Tom, this is important to me. I'm finally making real progress, and I can't just abandon that for a random weekend away." Random weekend away. That's what our relationship had become to her. 2 months ago, everything changed. I'd finished work early and decided to surprise Emma from picking her up from the gym. I wanted to take her to dinner, maybe recapture some of the romance we'd lost. Apex Fitness was everything I had expected. Gleaming equipment, floor-to-ceiling windows, attractive people, and expensive workout gear. I found Emma in the free weights section with Marcus, and my heart sank. Marcus Webb was everything I wasn't. Tall, muscular, with the kind of physique that belonged on magazine covers. He was spotting Emma as she did squats, his hands positioned on her waist in a way that seemed far too intimate for a professional relationship. But it was the way they looked at each other that really hit me. Emma gazed up at Marcus with an expression I hadn't seen in months. Pure adoration, attraction, desire. And Marcus looked back with the confident smile of a man who knew exactly how much power he held. I approached them, trying to keep my voice steady. "Emma, ready to go?" She jumped, startled by my presence. "Tom, what are you doing here?" "Thought I'd surprise you, take you for dinner." Marcus turned to look at me, and I saw his eyes take in my soft physique, my office worker's posture, and my obvious discomfort in this environment. His smile turned predatory.
"You must be Tom," he said, not bothering to extend his hand. "Emma's told me so much about you." "All good things, I hope." Marcus's laugh was like broken glass. "Oh, she's been very descriptive." Emma's face flushed red. "Marcus, we should finish up here." "Of course, though I have to say, Tom, you're exactly what I pictured." His eyes traveled up and down my body with undisguised contempt. "No wonder she's with me now. Look at the state of you, mate."
The words hit like a physical blow. Around us, other gym members had stopped their workouts to watch the scene unfold. Emma looked mortified, but didn't defend me. "I mean," Marcus continued, clearly enjoying himself, "when was the last time you saw your own feet? When was the last time you could run up a flight of stairs without getting winded? Emma deserves better than this." He gestured at my body like I was something disgusting he'd found on his shoe. "Marcus, please," Emma whispered, but there was no real conviction in her voice. "I'm just being honest," Marcus said, flexing his biceps casually. "Some men let themselves go and expect their wives to just accept it. Real men take care of themselves, take care of their women. Emma knows the difference now." I stood there, humiliated, as the entire gym watched Marcus destroy me with words. Emma wouldn't meet my eyes. Other members were recording on their phones, probably planning to share the video on social media. "Come on, Emma," I said quietly. "Let's go." "Actually," Marcus interrupted, "Emma and I weren't quite finished here. We've got another hour of training planned. Why don't you head home, Tom? Emma will be along when we're done." The dismissal was complete. I was being sent away like a child, while another man continued to train and clearly seduce my wife. I left the gym with my face burning and my marriage in ruins. But as I drove home through Brighton's busy streets, humiliation began transforming into something else, something harder, more focused. Marcus Webb thought he'd won. He thought he'd proven his superiority, claimed his prize, destroyed his competition. He thought I was weak, pathetic, someone who would slink away and accept defeat. He was about to learn how wrong he was. That night, I did something I'd never done before. I researched Marcus Webb thoroughly, learning everything I could about his background, his training methods, his business practices. What I found was interesting. Marcus had been trained by a man named David Sullivan, a former Olympic coach who'd built a reputation for transforming ordinary people into extraordinary athletes. But Marcus and David had fallen out 2 years ago over what David called unprofessional conduct with clients. David Sullivan now ran a small, exclusive training facility in Hove, working with a select group of clients who valued results over flashy equipment. His waiting list was months long, but I had something most people didn't, motivation that bordered on obsession. I called David's gym the next morning. "Mr. Sullivan, my name is Thomas Mitchell. I need your help." "I'm fully booked for the next 6 months, Mr. Mitchell. I can recommend some other excellent trainers." "It's about Marcus Webb." Silence. Then, "What about Marcus?" "He's sleeping with my wife. He humiliated me publicly yesterday, said I was pathetic, that no wonder she was with him instead of me. I want to prove him wrong." Another pause. "Come in this afternoon. We'll talk." David Sullivan was in his 50s, compact and powerful, with the kind of quiet confidence that comes from decades of excellence. His gym was nothing like Apex Fitness. No mirrors, no fancy equipment, just functional tools for serious training. "Tell me what happened," he said, and I did. Everything. The deterioration of my marriage, Emma's obsession with Marcus, the public humiliation at the gym. He listened without interrupting, his expression growing darker as I spoke. "Marcus always was a predator," he said finally. "I trained him for 3 years, thought I was teaching him about fitness and discipline. Turns out I was just giving him tools to manipulate vulnerable women. Can you help me?" David studied me carefully, taking in my soft physique, my defeated posture, my desperate eyes. "I can transform your body, Thomas. 6 months, maybe 8, and you'll be in the best shape of your life. But I can't fix your marriage. That's something you'll have to decide for yourself." "I understand." "Do you? Because this isn't going to be easy. I'm going to push you harder than you've ever been pushed. You're going to want to quit every single day. You're going to hate me, hate the process, hate yourself. But if you stick with it, you'll become someone Marcus Webb could never imagine." I signed up immediately. The next 6 months were the hardest of my life. David's training methods were brutal. Compound movements, functional strength, cardiovascular conditioning that left me gasping on the floor. He restructured my entire diet, eliminating processed foods and alcohol, focusing on lean proteins and complex carbohydrates. But more than the physical transformation, David was rebuilding my mind. He taught me about discipline, about the power that comes from controlling your body and your thoughts. He showed me that strength wasn't just about muscle mass, it was about mental toughness, about the ability to endure and overcome. "Marcus is physically strong," David told me during one particularly brutal session, "but he's mentally weak. He needs constant validation, constant proof of his superiority. That's a vulnerability you can exploit." Meanwhile, my marriage continued to deteriorate. Emma barely spoke to me anymore, spending most evenings at the gym or out with her fitness friends. She'd started staying out late, claiming she was attending nutrition seminars or recovery workshops. I knew she was lying, but I was too focused on my transformation to confront her. The physical changes came slowly at first, then accelerated. The fat melted away, replaced by lean muscle. My posture improved, my confidence grew, my entire presence changed. By month 4, I was unrecognizable from the man Marcus had humiliated. But I wasn't ready yet. David pushed me harder, adding advanced techniques, specialized training methods, competition-level conditioning. By month 6, I was in better shape than I had ever been in my life. "You're ready," David said after our final session. "But remember, this isn't about revenge. This is about showing people who you really are." The plan I'd been developing was simple but devastating. Marcus Webb's success was built on his reputation, his client base, his image as the ultimate fitness authority. If I could undermine those foundations, his entire business would collapse. I started by creating social media accounts showcasing my transformation. Before and after photos, workout videos, nutrition tips, all designed to demonstrate that dramatic change was possible with the right approach. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Then I began reaching out to Marcus's clients. I researched them all during my training. Wealthy professionals who paid premium prices for Marcus's services. I contacted them through social media, offering free consultations and training sessions. My pitch was simple. I was living proof that anyone could achieve incredible results with proper guidance. The first client to switch was Margaret Thornton, a successful businesswoman in her 40s who'd been training with Marcus for 2 years with minimal results. She agreed to meet me at David's gym for a consultation. "You said, 'My God, is this really you? The transformation is incredible.'" I showed her my training logs, my nutrition plans, my systematic approach to fitness. More importantly, I treated her with respect, focusing on her goals rather than my own ego. Marcus always made me feel like I wasn't working hard enough, like my lack of progress was somehow my fault. But looking at what you've achieved, she signed up immediately. Word spread quickly through Brighton's fitness community. Marcus's clients began defecting in droves, drawn by my results and my professional approach. Within 2 months, I'd taken over half his client base. But the real test came when I decided to join Apex Fitness. I walked into the gym on a Tuesday morning,
6 months after Marcus had humiliated me. The transformation was so complete that the reception staff didn't recognize me. I signed up for a membership and began working out, waiting for the right moment. Marcus was training a client in the free weights section when he noticed me. I saw him do a double take, his confident expression faltering as he tried to process what he was seeing. I continued my workout, ignoring him completely, but I could feel his eyes on me, could sense his growing confusion and concern. Finally, he approached. "Excuse me, mate, do I know you?" I looked up from my bench press, meeting his eyes with calm confidence. "Hello, Marcus. It's Thomas. Thomas Mitchell." His face went white. That's impossible. You can't be Emma's husband? The pathetic man you humiliated 6 months ago? I stood up, and for the first time I was looking down at Marcus instead of up. Surprise! Around us, other gym members had stopped their workouts to watch. Some were recording on their phones, just like they had 6 months ago. But this time, the dynamic was completely different. "How?" Marcus stammered. "This is impossible. People don't just transform themselves, prove you wrong, take your clients." I smiled. "Actually, they do. Margaret Thornton sends her regards, by the way. She's very happy with her new trainer."
Marcus's face cycled through confusion, anger, and something that looked like fear. "You can't just steal my clients. I built those relationships." "Based on what? Your sparkling personality? Your professional conduct?" I stepped closer, and Marcus actually took a step back. "I offered them results, Marcus, something you clearly couldn't provide." The entire gym was watching now, including Emma, who'd appeared from the cardio section with a look of shock on her face. "Tom? Is that really you?" I turned to look at my wife, seeing her clearly for the first time in months. She was still beautiful, still fit, but there was something hollow in her eyes, something desperate. "Hello, Emma. You look incredible. How did you—" "I decided to stop being the man you were ashamed of. I decided to become someone better." Marcus had recovered some of his composure, but his usual arrogance was gone. "This doesn't change anything. Emma and you what? Are having an affair? I know. The whole gym knows. The question is, what happens now?" Emma's face crumpled. "Tom, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. Marcus said you didn't care about me anymore, that you'd given up on yourself, on us." "And you believed him instead of talking to me?" "I was weak. I was stupid. I let him manipulate me because it felt good to feel wanted, to feel attractive." I looked at Marcus, who was standing there like a deer in headlights, his carefully constructed image crumbling around him. "The funny thing is," I said to him, "you were right about one thing. Emma did deserve better than the man I was 6 months ago. But she also deserves better than you." Marcus tried to salvage something from the situation. "You think some muscles change who you are? You're still the same pathetic—" I moved faster than he expected, getting close enough that only he could hear my words. "I know about Sarah Peterson and Jennifer Walsh and Amanda Clark. Should I go on?" His face went pale. These were other clients he'd been involved with, relationships I'd discovered during my research. "You're a predator, Marcus. You target vulnerable women, exploit their insecurities, and use your position to manipulate them. But your reputation is built on sand, and I'm about to wash it all away." I stepped back, speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. "Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to know that Marcus Webb is no longer the only option for personal training in Brighton. If you're looking for real results, professional conduct, and a trainer who respects you as a person rather than seeing you as prey, I'm available for consultations." I handed out business cards to several interested members, including 2 of his remaining clients.
Then I turned to Emma. We need to talk, but not here and not with him around. As I walked out of Apex Fitness, I heard Marcus trying to explain himself to his remaining clients, his voice high and desperate. But the damage was done. His reputation was destroyed, his client base decimated, his image as the ultimate fitness authority shattered. Within a month, Marcus Webb had left Brighton entirely. Apex Fitness terminated his contract after multiple complaints about his conduct. The last I heard, he was working at a budget gym in Birmingham, his personal training career effectively over. Emma and I went to counseling. It was hard, painful work, but we slowly rebuilt our marriage on a foundation of honesty and mutual respect. She admitted that Marcus had manipulated her, exploited her insecurities about our relationship, and convinced me that I didn't care about her anymore. "I should have talked to you," she said during one session. "I should have told you how I was feeling instead of looking for validation elsewhere. And I should have paid more attention. I should have noticed that you were unhappy, that our marriage was in trouble."
It took time, but we found our way back to each other. Emma left Apex Fitness and started training with David Sullivan, focusing on health and strength rather than appearance. I continued building my personal training business, helping people transform not just their bodies, but their entire lives. A year later, I ran into Margaret Thornton at a coffee shop in Brighton. She was with her husband, both of them looking happy and healthy. "Thomas," she called out, "how wonderful to see you. I was just telling Richard about my training progress." "How are things going?" "Incredible. I'm stronger than I've ever been, and more importantly, I actually enjoy working out now. You saved me from wasting years with that awful man." "Marcus was a lesson for all of us," I said. "Sometimes we need to be shown what we don't want in order to appreciate what we do." As I walked home through Brighton's busy streets, I reflected on everything that had happened. Marcus Webb had thought he could destroy me with words, steal my wife, prove his superiority through humiliation. He'd seen my soft body and assumed I was weak, pathetic, someone who would accept defeat without fighting back. He'd been wrong about everything. Real strength isn't about having the biggest muscles or the most impressive physique. It's about having the discipline to change what you can control, the wisdom to accept what you can't, and the courage to fight for what matters most. Marcus called me pathetic, but in the end, I was the one left standing. He'd lost his career, his reputation, his clients. The women he'd manipulated had found the strength to move on. The gym that enabled his behavior had cut ties with him. The transformation he'd mocked had become his downfall. The weak man he'd humiliated had rebuilt himself into someone stronger, better, more successful. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's becoming so much better than your enemy that they become irrelevant.